So now with that, I hope that everybody is ready for the first keynote session. Are you? Yeah, so let's dive right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, conventional wisdom suggests that the role of brand building is to help businesses maximize the shareholder value. But Nestle has never adhered to this belief, and instead they champion the idea that the role of brands and businesses is to create shared values. And this concept explores how brands and thereby businesses can do well by doing good at the same time. So now, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. BINU Jacob, Chairman and CEO of Nestle Vietnam, with the topic, Building Brands and Creating Shared Value. Mr. BINU, please.
Xin chào. How does a brand like Maggi benefit by empowering women? And what does a company like Airbnb have to do with helping displaced people? About 10 years ago, you wouldn't talk about creating shared value and building brands in the same breath. Good morning, my name is BINU Jacob, and over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll share some examples about why it's important for brands today to also create shared value. But before that, interestingly, the word or the phrase creating shared value was actually first coined in 2011 by Professor Michael Porter of Harvard Business School. But here's a fun fact. Even as early as 2005, Nestle, in our blueprint for the future, we had this phrase already. And the true story is that Professor Michael Porter had a conversation with our former chairman, Peter Brabeck, at the World Economic Forum at Davos in 2006. He got together to understand how Nestle operated, and that's how this term was coined. But some of you are probably still wondering, what the hell is this? What is creating shared value, and why is this guy talking about it? So let me do a very quick poll to understand your understanding of what this phrase really means. Can we have the question on the screen? Can we have the QR code, please? Okay, you can join the Kahoot, scan the QR code. "30 seconds. Okay, you can start now. Okay, I think they've got the wrong question. This was meant for a different panel. Okay, can we go back to the presentation, please? Can we go back to the presentation, please? Okay, no poll, no prizes. I had another one which had prizes, but I think we'll have to park it for another day. So what exactly is creating shared value? Let me start by saying what it's not. It's definitely not philanthropy. It's not about donating money for a cause. It's also not about corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is companies doing business and then to feel like you're good citizens, also do some good elsewhere. Creating shared value is integrating social and environmental problems into your business model so you can actually make profit out of it. This really becomes sustainable and it becomes scalable. But this concept of creating shared value has been inherently part of our DNA since our founder Henry Nestle first started Nestle 158 years ago. Many of you know Switzerland as an extremely rich, prosperous country. But 158 years ago, it was an extremely poor country. 30% of babies died before they reached the age of 1. And when Henry Nestle's neighbor approached him with a dying baby in his arms, as a pharmacist, he decided to do something about it. He put together a recipe of milk, wheat, and sugar and fed it to his neighbor's child, and the child survived. That was the genesis of Nestle, and since then we've been driven by this purpose of enhancing quality of people's lives. You might think, okay, that's a 158-year-old story. How about the new age companies? Think of Airbnb. Airbnb's stated purpose is to make people in the world feel like they belong anywhere. Now, that's a very tall commitment. In 2017, they made a pledge that people who are displaced either by war or by hunger or by natural disasters, they end up being homeless. They made a commitment that they will find temporary homes for 500,000 such people around the world. Why did they do this? A, it fit with their purpose. B, it truly made an impact to society. But they were not doing it because they were a social service organization. 50% of people who volunteered to put up these displaced people and give them temporary homes were never part of the Airbnb system. They managed to get 50% more hosts enrolled into their platform. And as a result, their business grew. The point of these two examples of Henry Nestle and Airbnb is that businesses can do well by addressing a social problem as long as it fits with their core competency, as long as it fits with their purpose, they can find a way to make money out of it that then becomes sustainable. So at this stage, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds great, some international brands here and there, but can everyday brands in Vietnam do the same thing? I'll share 3 examples from Vietnam about how brands are adopting the mindset of creating shared value. Let me start with Nescafé. Now, Nescafé is the world's biggest coffee brand. And at the end of the day, we sell coffee. We are an agricultural product to that extent. One of the biggest challenges the world faces today, and specifically here in Vietnam, is climate change. 30% of the greenhouse gas emission here in Vietnam comes from agriculture. 30%. People don't talk about it. Everyone talks about fossil fuels. 30% comes from agriculture. If you don't do agriculture properly, irresponsible agriculture leads to erosion of soil health, which means 50 years from now, nothing will grow on the soil if you don't address this issue. It harms biodiversity. It depletes water resources if you don't do it correctly. So this is a burning platform. And as the biggest coffee company, we buy 20 to 25% of all the coffee Vietnam produces. So it's our responsibility to do something about it. So in 2011, we set up this thing called the Nescafe Plan, where we work with 21,000 farmers all over Central Highlands directly and about 200,000 farmers indirectly. We provided almost 73 million coffee plantlets at subsidized costs that were disease resistant, that was environmental resistant, and as a result, they need to use less pesticide, less water. The farmer income has proven to increase by 30 to 150%. Now, this is all great stuff. The question is, how does the brand benefit? So together with our agency partners, Publicis, we have been trying to see how can we make this into a competitive advantage for the brand and tell a story that drives the brand health. So in the last 4 years, year on year, we've been experimenting, learning to make this into a competitive advantage. And last year at the MMA, I think I shared some examples. I'm also very happy to share with you the latest work that was done by the team, really understanding the needs of consumers here in Vietnam. Now, most of you, I'm sure, will agree when you see this film that it touches your life in some way or the other. People in Vietnam are caught up with a lot of work, the hustle and bustle of everyday life, that sometimes you just want to get away from it all. Back to nature. And this is the insight that the team capitalized on to drive this campaign, to make people understand the beauty of regenerative farming and how coming back to a farm can connect with yourself. Because the brand Nescafe is all about connections. It's all about making your world. Sometimes the connections are also making connections with yourself. So take a look at the film. I think literally you can only look at it, you cannot hear it. Can we try one more time or?
Rời xa những ngột ngạt, đến nông trại bền vững Nescafe, trải nghiệm thực tập kiểu mới. Tưởng không thực mà thực không tưởng, ứng tuyển ngay siêu thực tập sinh.
Here's the second example from Maggie. Now, most of you are from Vietnam, so you probably agree with me that you're very, very proud of one fun fact of Vietnam. Vietnam has one of the highest percentages of working women anywhere in the world. This is great. But if you go to the rural areas of Vietnam, not only do the women have to work, they also have to take care of the household, do the cooking, the household chores, take care of the family. And in the end, this is a societal challenge in rural Vietnam. Most women also want their independence. They want a life of their own. And when we interviewed women in rural areas, 62% of them wanted to set up their own business. But here's the problem. They often don't get support from their families. They don't have the financial support. There is a knowledge gap, and there are no mentors around. This is where Maggie, we stepped in. Now, the purpose of Maggie, in Vietnam, we took on the challenge and we said, we will try to empower women from the shackles of the kitchen and help them to lead their own lives. Why should their life be stuck in the kitchen cooking for the family? So we organized 2 programs. The first was called the Chi Nest, where we partnered with the Vietnam Women's Union, and the other is called Cook the Entrepreneurship. The Chi Nest program was really about educating women in rural areas on nutrition, on digital skills, on entrepreneurship skills, and helping them to set up their own businesses. Cook the Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, was a very specific program that targeted women who were passionate about cooking, but who also wanted to set up a business around cooking outside their homes. As a result, in the last 3 years we started this program, we have educated more than 1 million women in rural Vietnam, over 1,740 communes, and over 3,000 women entrepreneurs have been created as a result of this. On Cook the Entrepreneurship, we've reached out to 14 provinces, 24,000 women have been trained. This is a relatively new program we only started a year back, and slowly but surely more and more women are setting up food stalls and restaurants as a result of this, leveraging their expertise and their skills in cooking. Of course, this helps the brand as well, because whenever they set up business, they use Maggi products, and most often the stalls are also branded Maggi. So it's a win-win for the community, it's a win-win for Nestle, and also a win-win for rural areas where women have to be encouraged to become entrepreneurs. And this is the great part, this is scalable. 2 years ago, when we did our brand equity surveys, we were number 4 in rural. Today, we're number 1. Maggi is the number 1 brand when it comes to cooking aids in rural Vietnam. Here's the third example from Milo. Milo is our biggest brand here in Vietnam. But most of you know that, like in many parts of the world, most Vietnamese moms want the best for their children. But in Vietnam, more than any other place that at least I have seen, mothers tend to push their kids a lot. And the life of a kid is not easy being a kid in Vietnam. Day starts at 7, sometimes ends at 9. And in between schoolwork, homework, extra classes, the kid comes back exhausted. Moms feel guilty about this, but at the same time, they feel there's nothing they can do. They want endurance for the kids to last through the day. This is where Milo steps in. Together with the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Nutrition, we did a study that demonstrated that kids who actually do more exercise, 1 hour of exercise a day, have more endurance when together they consume a nutritious energy drink like Milo. It's proven, scientifically proven, to give them more endurance to last through this difficult day. Now, how do we activate this? We partnered with the Ministry of Education, and every year, more than 5 million kids go through this program in schools. And we are very proud that recently, the ministry has approved that an exercise routine that we developed, which is called the Milo Champ Move, has now been institutionalized in every single school of Vietnam. During break time, kids have to do this exercise. And it's branded Milo, and it's got the Milo music on it. So take a look.
Vững vàng cùng Milo. Yeah, yeah. Milo thêm năng lượng, Milo thêm kiên cường. Những thử thách trên đường dài vẫn không hề ngại. Milo thêm năng lượng, Milo thêm kiên cường. Cùng nắm lấy cơ hội này tiến lên mỗi ngày. Milo thêm năng lượng, Milo thêm kiên cường. Những thử thách trên đường dài vẫn không hề ngại. Milo thêm năng lượng, Milo thêm kiên cường. Cùng nắm lấy cơ hội này tiến lên mỗi ngày. Milo, here we go. Milo, Milo, let's go.
Of course, every brand, you need to have a spike that's different from your competitors. And our spike is this. We are all about providing endurance to kids so they can last through the day. We are all about stimulating kids to play more sports. So on these attributes, we score significantly higher than our competitors, and our brand equity has gone up 170 basis points since we started this. Now, I just want to end this session by re-emphasizing, if there's one thing that you need to take away from this, it's that brands that make a difference to society win in the long term. That the intersection of profit and purpose leads to long-lasting legacy brands. At the same time, I know this is probably not going to work. I had a special quiz. I don't know if it works now. But I also brought a special gift, which I think I have to go pick up myself. It's here. Okay, you can join the Kahoot game in the meantime.
Yeah, everybody take this opportunity. Please scan the QR code. Or you can also use the link kahoot.it and enter the PIN 485158. Player limit reached.
Okay, I think you can start now. So first question is roughly what percentage of greenhouse gas accounted by agriculture? Okay, the correct answer was 30%. Next question. Okay, I don't know who QA is. So how many school children are contacted every year through the Milo Active Vietnam program? We partnered with the Ministry of Education. Okay, this time it's pretty close. The answer is 5.5, but I guess not even half of it got it right. Next question. Who's Tule? You're disqualified. How many coffee farmer households are part of the Nescafe plan? 29,000, 17,000, 12,000, or 21,000? Wow, you were paying attention. 21,000. Next. The last question. Jon Snow. Leading. We have one more question to go. Whoever wins this is going to get a special Nespresso coffee machine. In how many provinces of Vietnam does Maggie collaborate with the Vietnam Women's Union to create women entrepreneurs? 8, 16, 14, or 11? Okay, we have almost half of it who got it right, 14 provinces. So with that, we come to the end of this session. We announce the winner of today is Jon Snow. Jon Snow, you can come here to pick up your special prize. I don't know who you are and where you are.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay, who's KR? I think Jon Snow is not going to get it. So we'll give it to KR. Please come on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need another big round of applause.
What's your full name?
for this beautiful lady.
Christine.
Essence Mediacom.
Congratulations, Christine, and hope you enjoy this great cup of coffee from Nespresso. Thank you all. Come on.
Thank you.